Blades Ramble are proudly supported by our main channel sponsor, My Business Group, a group of brands designed to support owners, leaders and managers in business. If you're looking to grow your business, contact mybusinessgroup.co.uk today for more information or follow the link in the description below. And seeing as this is 3MB, we're proudly sponsored by VMB Auto Centres at Handsworth. They're still offering that amazing deal of 50% off your MOT when you let them know that you're a Rambler. Call them now on 0114 322 4446. Thank you to VMB Auto Centres for their continued support of the Ramble.
Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is Two Mardy Blades. So I appreciate, obviously, that is a set intro, but it's Two Mardy Blades. Dave the Nose, a little bit under the weather today. Hope you feel better soon, pal. He's cried off tonight, and understandably so. So hope you feel better soon. Our thoughts are with you, but me and Mr. Mountain are going to have to hold the fort for you tonight. So let's get him in. It's the housewife's favourite. It's Paul the Man Mountain.
This is the view from the mountain with a heart so pure it's astounding. Man Mountain, strong and true. What a man, what a view.
That is just iconic. I love it. I absolutely love it. How's it going, mate? You okay?
Yeah, good. Yeah, very good. Had a great day yesterday, obviously. At Bramall Lane, Ronnie had a game in the morning. Won a big game, 3-1, and then we went up to the lane, back to back, a nice cheeky double. Beautiful.
Nice, mate. It was good, weren't it? I mean, we've been waiting for a home win. Well, I can't remember last time we got a home win. Were it Bristol City in playoffs? It's in terms of competitive football, it's been really, really poor, and I've enjoyed it this weekend. I've really enjoyed it, and I think we have to. It don't come around often, or it certainly hasn't done recently. The big question, mate, is can this kickstart our season into something that we can look forward to? Rather than I think it had come to the point where it was apathy from a lot of us. Really, it's just more like I don't think we'll get relegated, but it's more disappointing because the season's probably gone. Has it gone, or did you see enough in that performance yesterday with little tweaks that Wilder's making to think that there's a lot of games left to play here, and we're 10 points away so far? It's one victory, I understand that, we can't get carried away, but does it give you room for optimism?
It's a start, and we've been hanging on for a start, haven't we? And I think as a fan base, we've been a little bit devoid of confidence, I think, similar to the players in terms of how it's all going to pan out. We've hit the despair button a couple of times when we've been on the end of a tight result against us and stuff like that. But it's a start, and it looks better all the time.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's looking better, man. And I think that's where we start. Do you know what I mean? There's 36 games. There's 36 games gone. To go. 36 games. With 36 games to go, nothing is done. So nothing is done. If the league stopped tomorrow, we'd be relegated, obviously, but it doesn't. And while there's a lot of matches and a lot of points up for grabs, if you've got a team that's won a game, not just confidence and belief within the fan base, but the players more than anything, it looked more like it. I felt we got away with it a touch yesterday. I felt like there was a really good opportunity that they'll be thinking they should have scored as well.
Yeah, they will.
But the second half, I think we had a really good go, and it was good to see us hang on and get the 3 points. And I think it's a big thing for the forward players. When you've got a bunch of forward players who are all misfiring, if you want, and not looking themselves, there's nothing like a win to change things. And when the games come thick and fast like they do over the next few weeks, 3 or 4 games from now, we might be talking about, another 3 or 4 victories. And And if that's the case, then it's game on, isn't it? And I think that up until Christmas, mate, what for me is if we're mid-table at Christmas, I think the board have got to back us, and we've got to keep going, because there's enough good players. And I said it before, there's the difference between what we've been seeing in terms of a level versus where the potential is for the players in this team. We've got to be optimistic that they can put a run together.
That's the right word, isn't it? Optimistic. And I know I used it with you as well, but there's a danger here of tipping the balance one way or the other and going from one extreme to the other, where it's all doom and gloom because we'd not won at home yet, and we'd only won once, and it's been such a terrible start, which it has been a terrible start. But then to one victory at home, and then all of a sudden, you're not saying it, obviously, you've given context there, but some are saying, right, we can do this. We can get to playoffs this season. We can still go up this year. And I think whilst that is obviously true, that we can do that, we can. I think it's always dangerous going from one end of extreme to other in terms of your how you view the season mentally. I think you set yourself up for a fall potentially. But there is reason for optimism, because I was talking to my dad about it on way home yesterday, and he said it on stream when he came on 90 after 90 last night. He thinks these next two games are pivotal to our season, because particularly Blackburn on Tuesday, really quick turnaround, like you said. Blackburn are one place above us in the league. We go away from home, which is never easy to do anywhere in this league. I don't care what form people are on. They can always turn up at home and pull out a result somewhere. But if we go and beat Blackburn on Tuesday night, then I will start to believe. I don't think it's arrogant to say that these players are good enough to climb the table, because I think everybody would look at our squad and agree. Even neutrals would look at it and agree. Wilder's trying to use the line into at the moment, where a lot of the Championship will be loving this. It's another method of us against everybody else, which I love, because I think we're better as underdogs anyway. And we're scrapping. We are up against it at the moment, but I think if we can get a victory at Ewood Park on Tuesday, it's a huge statement for us. And back-to-back wins might just be the springboard that we need. Is that too optimistic?
No, again, Jim, it's for me. It's where I know this is a very obvious statement, and shoot me down if you like, but we'll know a lot more in another 6 or 7 games, because we're getting to a point where Wilder's had a bit of time on the training pitch. I think that's quite obvious that we look like. The goal was a good goal, actually. It was a really nicely worked goal, and you could just see a couple of little relationships coming through within the system that he wants.
The way it was tapped in might have made it appear scrappy, but it was well worked, wasn't it? I thought it's, if you see it in passing, it's like, oh well, he slid in on the line. It's been well worked, that goal.
It gives you something to hang on to as well, Jim. For the players in particular, if the one got the goal to put us ahead because it's nervous. Bramall Lane's a nervous place. The first half was nervous. We didn't dominate massively. I thought we came out second half and battled well and showed a bit of character, which was really good. But goals change games. If you're not cheerly, the game can go on a different course completely. But I thought that when the goal was well taken, it was well worked. And I just feel like those sorts of situations haven't been happening very often for us. And like you say, the belief in some of the players, Cal O'Hare, for example, I thought Tanganga was doing good things down the right-hand side in the second half as well. Yeah. I thought the midfielders showed up, which was really, really good. Peck obviously was milking it at the end, loved it. Yeah. I thought McCallum, me and Lee were having a few jokes in the stand about McCallum, because obviously I've rinsed him before. And after 15 minutes, we're looking at each other going, he's best player here at the minute.
Yeah, he was. Rightly got man at match, I thought.
Yeah, I agree. I think you got to give him his flowers. He much improved on where he's been. We still spoke about his appreciation of pass. I mean, at that level, and I made the argument for him, actually. He hasn't had a lot of games to get any rhythm in terms of things like that, getting your touch sorted and things like that. I think he's going to get a run in the team.
I think he is.
If he can replicate what he's been doing, he was a good target for set plays, goal kicks and things as well. And We wanted a big diagonal out on the left-hand side as well because he's got a hell of a jump on him.
I think there's sorry, mate. I think there's a chance with Louis Barry not impressing, and we can talk about individuals in a minute, but I think it's widely accepted that Louis Barry didn't really take his chance. Andre Brooks came on and did well, so there's a chance that Andre Brooks starts on that left-hand side with Gus Hamer being out. But there's also a chance that Sam McCallum starts further up on the left-hand side and Burrows slots in behind him. I'm not saying I would do that, but I know obviously Wilder likes Burrows. I can see that happening. I can see that being the way he goes, and maybe just to keep McCallum in the team because he's earned that right to keep the shirt.
I don't know, maybe away from home if you want a little bit more cover on that side, I suppose. But it wouldn't be my choice. But it's, you know, like you say, we're not flush with loads of options out there, especially with Hamer injured. And like you say, he deserves his spot. Yeah, I think he's due a little run in the team until if he can replicate that performance, then yeah, fair play. It's his shirt to lose, isn't it? But I thought the defence looked decent. I think there were the one time when they went through, I thought they should have scored. I thought that was a little bit too easy, and that alarm bells were with me for that bit. But it's going to happen. It's a 90-minute game, and these are professional footballers, so they're going to get in at some point. But
let me talk to you about some of the individual performances then, mate. And obviously some will be better than others. Get this one out of the way first and foremost. What did you take? What did you take on Louis Barry yesterday?
My grandma said to me, "If you ain't got nice to say, then just keep your gob shut."
Okay. So moving on from Louis Barry then.
Well, no, I'll tell you what I said to Lee at half time. I said, if Louis Barry was a bevy, it'd be half a shandy. He's got absolutely
weak as we,
mate. He muscled off the I think he knocked on his bum about 4 times, didn't he? And I was like, come on.
Looks like a boy, doesn't he?
Mate, I don't know what it is. It's the physical power. It's odd, isn't it, to think that a player with ability like he's got, and he's got ability, he just hasn't got the speed or the strength to live with, even championship defenders. And we're talking about, we talk about it. We're not talking about it now, but we're talking about players that bridge the gap and players that we might be able to use in the Premier League. Deary me. It's a real shame because he seems like a really great kid when you see him on interview and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. But none of this is personal, is it? It's just what works for the team, and that's what we're trying to figure out. It's what Wilder's been trying to figure out since he came back. So yeah, I agree with you. I think Louis Barry did himself no favours yesterday. What about who should we go to next? We'll go to the one that we disagreed on because we spoke briefly after the game. Jibril Samari, you thought he played well, didn't you?
I thought that he was I thought it was okay. I thought it was decent. I thought there's some people in the Ramble chat who had him as the man of the match, Jim. I'll just have you.
Yes, there are, and there are others who thought it was looked lost and was left pointing and didn't really know how to keep up with play either. So there's always a wide spectrum of opinion, and that's what we encourage, isn't it? But I don't think he was great. I think he caught the eye back end of the first half because of some really neat and tidy work that he did, both intercepting the ball and carrying the ball forward. I thought he was involved in some decent play for the last 5, possibly 10 minutes of the second half. But I thought for the first 25 minutes, it was anonymous. And it's still him getting used to the game and stuff like that. But I think the purchase of Gyro, which we'll come on to obviously, it tells me that Wilder doesn't fancy him either.
No, but I think my trouble is with Samari at the moment is he's another very young player, and he's come in from Portugal, top level as well, Portugal. And I think yesterday was a bit of a building block to work from. I think he's somebody that they can use. I think he brings things to the table. Is he concentrating all the time? Is he used to the pace of the game? Well, he's not going to be because he hasn't been playing. So I fear that when we're judging players, sometimes that match sharpness and that little bit of know-how, like 20-year-old footballers, Jim, need guys around them to help them out. And
I know, mate, but we've got our own 20-year-old. We've got our own 20-year-old players that we need to bring on. I always think, and it seems harsh, but we sort of putting Louis Barry in the same category. Tyler Binden's not getting a sniff, but the loan players that you get should be huge impacts on your first team. Louis Barry's not that. Tyler Binden's not that. Ben Godfrey's not that at the minute. Cheo Ogbene's playing most games and may well grow into the team. He's a more seasoned professional, older player. But we can't afford to be using one of our loan spots to develop a Portuguese a lad on loan from a Portuguese side on loan who we've got a £10 million obligation if we get promoted. If it were an option, we wouldn't be even thinking about it. We haven't got the time or we've certainly run out of game time, but we shouldn't be looking at building players. We should be bringing in players who are better than what we've already got. And he's not that. And it's a concern and that sounds really harsh because he hasn't had a lot of time on the field. And I don't mean it to sound like that. But when you think that, we brought in Ben Godfrey, and in January we might be looking at loaning in Harry Souttar instead because that name's already been mentioned. We know that Souttar levels us up. We know that he plays every game if fit. So that is what a loan signing, in my opinion, should be doing, is playing every game. And Harry Souttar then helps Femi Sariki like he helped Alfie Gilchrist last season. He helps Harrison Burrows as one of our younger players who we have in the side. Siddy Peck, who's just in front of him. This is how you utilise the loan players to influence your younger players. And I know you know that. I'm not sort of trying to be patronising when I say that to you, but we haven't got the time to develop someone else's player. I want an immediate impact from the loan boys, and we're not getting it.
No, well, that's fair point, but I don't feel like, again, would Wilder have chosen any of them? Any of the loan players that came in?
Ogbene, I think he might have done. I think he might have fancied Godfrey. I think he's had a sniff at Godfrey before, but Binden, no. Barry, I think, again, we linked with Barry when we were looking at Brereton Diaz last January. So it's not that he might not have originally fancied him, but I certainly don't think he fancies him now.
No, well, I do. I see your point, and it's a good point. My issue with it is that we've got to field the best side that we can, and whether we like it for the development of another player is irrespective for me. I think Wilder obviously thought that in the situation we've got with Davis, he thought that Samari was the next one that deserved to come in. I thought he had a decent game, a building block to go from. Do I think Riedveld's going to take his spot? Yes, I do. And I don't. That's
the warning sign, isn't it? That's the warning sign for Samari, for Matos, because it's clear. I think we all know that he loves Siddy Peck, and I think he feels he can rely on Siddy Peck because he wants a bit of that in his team anyway. What Siddy brings in terms of character and commitment. But I thought Siddy Peck played better alongside Gyro second half. I thought he was able to get forward a little bit more.
Can we call him Reader, not Gyro, please?
No, I don't like Gyro. Gyro. But I thought you could when he's already talked about the squad is way too big, and he's been on record every other press conference saying that. What are your plans for January? Well, we need players out of the door because it's way too big. We've got about 6 centre midfielders. Arblaster's out injured. Tom Davis is again out injured. Right. And he brings in another player because he doesn't trust them at all. So that's if I'm Samari or Matos and he's been saying, we've way too many players, we need to get it down, it's clear he don't fancy me.
Well, again, I'll counter that because we need more than 11 and what he needs is games and confidence. He could be a good player. I think he's got a lot of the tools required to be a decent player for us. Yeah, maybe not in the long, big picture. He's not the one that you go, oh, we need to play him more because he's going to, or we don't play him because he's got to leave. He's got to work with what he's got, and he's got him.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And the truth is, you might as well try and blood him enough to use him. Like Reader's obviously not ready. Reader is obviously not ready.
Well, he sounds a bit like a blue and white player. I don't know.
No. He's definitely got the shirt when he's fit, and he's not quite fit. So when you're playing 5 games a fortnight, Jim, you need to blood someone like Reader into the side. You're gonna use Samari. I think he'll use Samari in most games in the next 4 or 5 games because I think it was a decent performance. I don't think it was groundbreaking or
I'm not trying to force you into a corner and sort of say, "Oh, well, you said he were brilliant," because you didn't say that to me either. You said I thought he were decent. I liked the look of him in first half. I agree. Really, I thought we were okay. It weren't like, oh my God, what a terrible performance. I'm really concerned. I just think Gyro is clearly going to be the starter alongside Siddy Peck. It's just a case of how quickly can they get him match fit, because it was clear to me, it looked to me more balanced with him in the midfield alongside Siddy. And I think the writing is then on the wall for Samari. I think you're right, though. I think with the 3 games in 6 days, essentially, then Samari will probably play the majority of the minutes out of the 2 of them. And that's probably right, because he's match fit and Gyro's not had a club. So I do think he fancies Reader, or however we're going to call him, over Samari. But I'm not saying that'll happen immediately, just because they're always careful about how they blood players, don't they? What did you think to Gyro then when you saw him yesterday?
I think he came on at a point in the game where we were the effort levels were high, and he fitted in nicely. He looked like it was quite easy, like natural for him to be in there, and we saw out a victory at the end of the day, and he didn't put a foot wrong. Really, he was neat and tidy. Yeah, you just got the feeling. I think most people, because of his background and where he's come from, and his pedigree, if you like, it's the sort of player that is going to improve our 11 straight away. And yeah, I think he brought that air of calmness to the side. I think when you're bringing players like that onto the pitch, it's a signal to the fans, a signal to the rest of the team that, you know, we're going to see this through now, lads, because we're bringing on quality, and we're not bringing on this guy because this guy's knackered. He brings something to the table this last half hour that we didn't have in the first hour, and that's good. I don't think Samari's on the scrap heap. I think he's going to get used. But like you said, when you've got Riedveld and you've got Peck and then you've got Blaster and Davis, when they're fit, will Samari probably be the 5th choice? Yes. 5th and 6th with Matos. Yes, he will. But I think he's going to get used, and I don't think it was a bad performance from him. I thought Peck was really good. I thought O'Hare turned up. I thought he was really strong in the middle there. Campbell, similar accusation to what's been levelled at him all season. Again, looks like he's he's I don't know, when he's had a run, he looks like he's puffing and panting, mate. And
yeah, I was just going to let you go then, but I will help you out. I agree. I think he looks unfit. I think he looks like he's carrying a little, not necessarily carrying, obviously, but he just looks unfit. When he'll do a lung busting run, and then that's him done for the next 5-10 minutes with his hands on his knees. Yeah. I don't know whether there is definitely a player in there. We've seen it. I know I've sort of voiced these concerns since before the start of the season about Tyrese Campbell, because he's never shown it consistently. And I want to be wrong, but I don't think I am at the minute. And it's just a case of, is he better in a 2? Is that going to help him more? If we played Danny Ings alongside him, would that be better for both players? I think it would, but then who do you sacrifice elsewhere in the team? Because obviously it's going to be slightly easy for the strikers at that stage, but how else are you? Because you can't take Callum O'Hare out of the side at the moment, in my opinion. Callum O'Hare I thought were fantastic again yesterday. Obviously got the only goal of the game. But if there was any contender to Sam McCallum's Man of the Match award, I'm giving it to Callum O'Hare. So what do you do to get Tyrese Campbell fit and firing again?
Well, you give it, you play him.
Or do you take him out of the firing line? Do you put Danny Ings in and bring him in on off the bench, like the Callum O'Hare effect last season as a finisher, when you thought it's not quite working, and maybe it's a kick up the backside that he needs?
Well, again, I think there's definitely room for. I thought Louis Barry didn't work on the left. We've got no obvious. Without Gus, we've got nobody out there who obviously comes in and I don't think can stake a claim for a place in this team.
Yeah.
We've been on about it for ages. 3-4-1-2. Calais behind 2 forwards. Ogbenny and Burrows or McCallum at this point. You put Reader and Peck in together for the time being. You play your 3 centre halves. I think that works. I think that Ogbenny at the moment is kind of suffering because the right back situation doesn't really it doesn't work. So I think that obviously Jaffe can do a job out there as part of a 4. Is he going to go? He actually did all right in the second half, the last sort of 20
I thought so.
Getting beyond down there, and he put a couple of reasonable balls in as well. A decent, one poor one I remember, but he put in a couple of decent ones. And I just think that if you're gonna, I don't think we can do the 4-2-3-1 like Wilder's played before, because I don't think that left hand side is a problem that we can solve with what we've got at the moment in the squad. So I'd like to see the 3-4-1-2 with O'Hare behind 2 strikers.
Me too.
So that's the team. That's the kind of team that I'd be looking at, because I think Benny suffers because no one's getting past him. Like when you're a winger, you need somebody to make a run, either an overlap, an underlap, whatever. I think because he has got pace, I think that as fans, what we want is for him to, every time he gets the ball, we want him to skin his man, kick and chase and cross the ball. But he needs movement around him because that creates the spaces for him to go into, and he's not getting a lot of that.
I'm just gonna have a look and see. You might be able to know before I find it. Actually, was Sariki in the squad yesterday? I don't think he was. I don't think he was in the matchday squad, which I would assume, and it's only an assumption, I would assume he's injured if that's the case. But if Sariki was available, would you consider making the change and taking Ogbeni out of the team? If we're playing the system that you want, where it's a 3-4-1-2, and I'd like that too, and we're going 2 wing backs, so you've got McCallum or Burrows as the left, would you go Ogbeni or Sariki on the right?
Again, in the context of the match, so it depends what we're after and what we need at that point.
Well, they're both fit for Blackburn. Who do you pick?
I think you stick with Ogbeni, but I personally like Sariki with 20 minutes to go, running at a fullback who's just played 70 minutes of football.
But surely Ogbeni would have a similar impact.
Yeah, but Sariki hasn't done anything wrong. I think that's how he would be utilised best in this team. I think when he plays right back, he's vulnerable. The same way Burrows, I thought, was vulnerable for us when he was playing full back.
Yeah,
I thought McCallum has done a really good job there. So it's up to Wilder if he wants to stick with him in that position, because he's done a really good job, and hopefully that continues and he can get a run of games and do that and keep Burrows out of the team. Because if he's playing well, that's what he'll have to play well to keep Burrows out anyway. But I think you bring Sariki more into play if you play that formation as well, because I think I'd trust him way more as part of that on the right of the 4 than I would as part of a back 4, because he gives us so much pace going forward. I know the end product is patchy, so sometimes it's decent, sometimes it's poor.
Yeah.
Young player, but bags of physical attributes that can hurt sides at the end of the day. I want to mention one of their players as well. I thought Loser,
touch of class, innit?
Despite his name, is an absolute winner, because why no one's come and got him out of there?
They want too much money, mate. He's a £10 million plus player for them, I think.
Yeah, I think he was showing me something that we don't have.
He was controlling their midfield. I don't think they sort of bossed us in the midfield area. I thought we played very well yesterday in that respect, but for everything that he could do as an individual, I thought it was very neat and tidy, very technically gifted. And we'd highlighted him before the game. I'd had him as the key man to watch for them. And he's up until yesterday, with new manager coming in, he'd been their captain. So he's really highly thought of at the club. But like you say, he's better than that Watford side.
Way too good. I think he would have been a Ben Osborne project, wouldn't he? At some point, if we'd. For me, I thought after 20, 25 minutes, there was a tactical shift to make there, because he was just finding pockets. He was drifting off his man all the time. There wasn't any clear intention to go and affect his game, and I thought he needs individual attention.
That's where I think Samari struggled, because he were up against Loser for a lot of that first half.
Loser was wherever he wanted to go.
Exactly, yeah.
Wherever he wanted to go, pick the ball up, spraying passes.
But I expect Samari to be breaking up play and not letting him dictate like he was. So I'm not saying he dominated the game because he didn't. I don't want to change the narrative, but I thought for anybody that were keeping a keen eye on him, which you clearly did as well, he was very good.
I think when you're doing what Sheffield United are doing now, mate, is you're going back to basics. So what Wilder will have been coaching into him for the last 3 or 4 weeks is defend well. Because if you defend well, you give yourself a platform, and that comes through structure. And what the players are told to do, and what I would like him to do, or you'd like him to do, watching the game from the sides, isn't always the same thing. So Wilder might have said, I want you in your bank of 4, I want you in, then you want your bank of 5 with O'Hare, buzzing in around just in front of you, etc. And that if that's the instructions, mate, that's what you do. So I'm not necessarily digging out Samari because Loser's a really good player. I don't think there was any intention from Wilder or from the team to give him any special treatment. And I feel like it was ironic that he was stood on his own in the box the way he was and clipped one off the crossbar, because I was fuming with that, because he was clearly the man. And you have to, and when we're defending in a box, and God knows how many times I've said this, players score goals, and marking space in the box is the secondary thing. When you're in the box, you mark players first. When you're spare, brilliant. Go where you think the ball's going to go as a defender. Your instinct should take over as to where you think you should be.
Absolutely right.
But if their best player is stood on his Todd in the middle of your goal, 10 yards from goal,
something's not right.
You've got to be touch tight. You've got to be hands on. You've got to poke it off him. You've got to make him work a lot harder than he did to get his turn on. He had more time than he thought he did, actually, when you look at it. When you look at the opportunities off that crossbar, he had more time than he thought he did. And I was like, Christ, boys, all the hard work could have been in the bin there. And
I know.
But it
pops the balloon then, doesn't it? And we're all like, oh.
But it's up here, mate. It's up here. It's like, it's when the pressure's on. It's like when we talk about Ben Mee and we talk about experience and players who've been and done it. The Jagielka effect, the things you don't notice about the decision making that these players make. It needs to be instant. It needs to be, right, this is me. And I just thought and the way that they went through on that left-hand side was just so easy, getting sucked into the ball and not tracking. And I was like, oh my God, it could have all gone in the bin. Thankfully, it didn't. And we got what I felt we deserved overall because of our endeavour and our courage in the second half. So.
You know what it is, though, mate? It's what you said. And I was with you and hoping that you were right, because there was a potential that it could go wrong if we kept doing it. But you were saying we look like we're starting to do the right things. And if we keep doing that, then the results will come. And I agreed with that sentiment. My concern was if the results don't start to turn, then the performances would start to dip as well. But you were saying, I don't know whether it was last week or week before, what we're doing are the right things. You can see him getting into better areas. You can see what he's trying to do. We look a little bit more structured. And we've played better against Southampton and Hull than we have like for the majority of the season. And we saw it. We saw it against Watford. It wasn't brilliant. It wasn't a blow-away performance. But it was very much like a lot of people have been comparing it to last season's performances, where it was a workman-like performance, a professional performance. We got what we needed out of the game, and then we were able to be resilient enough and have the character to keep them out. Like you said, there were a couple of lapses in concentration, and it could have gone wrong way. But sometimes you earn your own luck, I think. And if you keep grinding it out and you keep pushing, then you'll get it. And Wilder's face at the end, I thought were an absolute picture. I saw that live. I was directly like just above where he was, and I was watching him because he was kicking every ball like he always does. But it was just to see it close up was really like he was like overcome with emotion. And from a lot of what we're hearing, he wasn't elated after the game, and I like that. I like that because no, that's one job done. It wasn't perfect, and we move on to Blackburn. We're still in a mess. We still need to keep going. It's not like his new one is there's no champagne dripping off the ceiling, isn't it? That's his new line. I like that. But he's focused, and he's like, no. We're in a bit of a mess here, and we've got to keep working to get ourselves out of it. And that is what I like about it. So it's Wilder, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's pragmatic. We're still in the bottom three, and we've got 2 victories out of 10, and yeah, so the squad are not punching their weight, and he'll know that more than anyone. And yeah, we scraped a tight game, and I thought again a lot of the things that were decent. It was a decent performance.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think we deserved. I felt like we deserved it in the end, but it could have easily. There was a couple of things in there where I just thought we could have done better with Loser. I thought we should have spotted that and made that part of certainly the second half performance. I'm pleased that we took our chance, and it was a nice piece of football, something that the sort of thing that they definitely practice. So yeah, I was made up with that, because that's what the forward players need, a little bit of confidence. And winning and losing are habits, Jim. It's when you get used to losing, it's like, and you lose by the odd goal, and you just look around going, oh God. When you keep a nice clean sheet, Cooper will feel better about life. The defenders will feel better about what's happened again. But he'll be saying to him, look, you should have done better here, you should have done better here. This is what we should be doing. This is the priority for the next game. Because again, in 3 games' time, Jim, like you said, we might be sat here with big cheesy grins going, oh, we've won 3 out of the last 4. Or we might be sat here going, oh well, we're in Doomsville again because we've not won for 2 games or 3 games. And it's like the only way to get anywhere in this league is by putting a run together. And he knows that. We need a run of performances now. We need the players to take this victory and run with the ball and keep it going, because there's certainly the ability. There's nothing to say. I don't see anyone blowing us away in this division, personally. No. So I just think I think redevelop will make a big difference. I think when you look around the team and players like Peck and young players in particular, they see someone like him. He will bring a new level of calmness and keep the game ticking and start to dictate a bit of play. And I think he's exactly what we need for this time. And I think we've made a really good decision getting him in. I know Wilder hasn't wasted any time getting him a contract sorted and getting him in the door and he'll be bringing him up to speed. Hopefully, I think he might start the next one and maybe do an hour or something and just get him built up over the next couple of weeks. But we do have to be careful because we keep getting stung with, the injuries to key players and stuff. And
well, on that as well, I'm going to get into the comments because Dave in here, and obviously it gives us. He's always chewing his ear off and he talks for ages and ages. We can never get comments in, but we're going to try and get some comments read tonight because we'll have the opportunity to do so. But just saying that about the injured players, the obvious one to talk about is Gus Hamer is now rumoured to be out for around 8 weeks. Was spotted in a brace against Watford. It's a huge blow. It's clearly a blow. There's no sort of sugarcoating it or trying to twist the narrative. And I think you'd be daft to say we're not a better team with Gus Hamer in it, because I think we are. He's widely recognised as our most technically gifted player. There are things with Gus like consistency and off the field behaviour and stuff like that in terms of keeping himself in tip-top condition. But ultimately, you want every side in this league, I believe, has Gus Hamer in their starting 11. So it's a huge blow to Sheffield United. But can you see any silver linings to it? Because we were trying to look at this on 90 after 90, and Lewis was quite right in terms of things that you can look towards are things like players taking on more responsibility themselves. And we've had a problem with some players going hiding, I think, in some games. And Tyrese Campbell I've criticised for this. I think Samari's done it on occasion. I think Louis Barry were definitely doing it against Watford. But players now have to take more responsibility themselves. They can't just look to Gus and hope that he can come up with something magical. Do you see any sort of silver linings towards opportunities for others, I suppose?
The proof will be in front of our eyes, mate, because what we hope is it's the PSG effect, don't we? They lose all the big players, end up being a much better side.
Yeah.
Because of that, and they start working together a little bit more, and like you say, taking responsibility. Who wants to be the main man? Who's over the set pieces? Sam McCallum took a free kick.
Yeah.
Which he's confident in the game at that point. So yeah, well, I mean,
he's got a good near post, by the way. Where that wall's set up, he's got a good near post, and he goes far post where keepers stood.
If you go in near post, Jim, you've got to get it up and down. And when you're that close, that is not easy.
I know, but I don't think Wall were, from where we were, it didn't look like it were flush. So anyway.
No, well, I think up and down over that wall from that range is reserved for very few who can get it up and over with the right kind of pace.
We're very close, weren't it? It were like 20 yards out or something like
that. But also, is that I think you can surprise the goalkeeper by going the other way and following in and try and hoover up any scraps that come off the keeper if you hit it well enough. You can score goals that side because keepers when they think you're going to dink it over the wall, they sometimes step left all right, and don't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Stitch themselves up. But anyway, I felt like it's the mantle is there, isn't it? And O'Hare took the chance to score the goal. I thought Brooksy should have finished it himself, but I thought, and it was a weird feeling because all I was doing was I looked straight over at the linesman because I was a bit nervous that it was, and then I realised no VAR. Like the linesman's flag's down. We've scored a goal, and even the players,
I thought he were on
celebrations, didn't they?
I thought he were on, but I've got Rich sat next to me, Rich Carrington, saying, "Mate, he's offside. He's offside." First thing he says, just as it crosses the line, I'm like, "No, he's not. He's on. He's on." So there were a little bit of panic, even though I thought he were onside. But yeah, that no VAR feeling where it doesn't go to think. Oh, because can you imagine that getting chalked off at that stage?
I was just staring at the linesman, and it was surreal because I didn't actually celebrate properly. I was just looking for something to go wrong.
I know.
Does that count? And I think even the players, like they went to celebrate, then they stopped a little bit, and then they ran off to the corner, didn't they? And it was like, the linesman got his hand down. He looks proud of himself. Let's do it. Let's go. So that's good. So yeah, it was bizarre, but it's nervous, isn't it?
Of course it is.
It's the modern case. Certainly in the Premier League, I can't bear it when there's been a goal. Referee said now. Linesman said now. Well, we're just gonna.
Yeah, can we just have a check of that anyway? Yeah,
if there's any reason to chalk this off, let's
just 30 seconds. We'll be back with you. Ridiculous.
3 minutes later.
I know. That's a goal.
What are you actually looking for, lads? Oh, anything, any reason. Somebody looked at someone funny. He ran into him. Any reason to chuck it? Oh, there was a foul about 2 minutes ago up here, so we might chuck it for. It's like, oh, come on, football, sort it out. You know what I mean? But no, it was great. We scored. We won. We're happy.
Top man. Paul starts us off in comments tonight saying, "Hi, Jimmy and Paul. Great Blades show. You should be called Two Happy Blades now that we won. Isn't it ironic that Tufty wins against his two ex-clubs and we win 1-0 and Callum O'Hare scores the winner up the blade?" Yeah, I'd not thought about that. Watford and Oxford, his two ex-clubs. He hasn't managed Blackburn, he hasn't managed Preston. But we'll put that to bed when we play him, hopefully. Great win yesterday, says Bean, but I do think people are getting carried away a bit with the playoff talk, etc. I like our defence, but still think we have a lot to do going forwards, but it's definitely better. A centre midfielder needs to be on the shopping list for January. Arblaster has had a year out. Davis is made of glass, and another 10 or a winger. Still think we're going to struggle for goals, but hope I'm wrong. Do we need another centre midfielder? I think if Gyro proves himself, he will get a contract at least till the end of the season. And then you've got Gyro, Peck, Arblaster as your main three. Tom Davis whenever he fancies, being fit. And then you've got Matos and Samari still in the squad. If you don't send Samari back, if that's even an option. Or Matos out on loan somewhere, even though we paid 4 or 5 million quid, which just shows how we've spent the money this season. But I think in terms of bodies, we've got enough. I think I'm with Bean if he's talking about the quality. But what would you say in terms of, do we need another centre midfielder in, Jan?
Not now. Not now.
I don't think so.
Got Reader in. Now he's on. I think he gives us a bit of depth in there, doesn't he? So we've got 3 at the moment. We're open to have 5, 6. Matos as well. We forget about Matos. Matos has done that wrong.
No, I agree.
So there's another one there. So I just don't think it's going to be a priority position. I think that left-sided attack or whatever now with Gus out. This is the thing. If Gus isn't exercising for 6 weeks, someone's got to keep an eye on him because
he'll be sneaking out a back door, won't he?
Mate, I don't want the bloody, what's his name, the McFlurry man or whatever is off Ghostbusters coming
It's
back.
Fat Sam's, isn't it? Don't Jamie Dumpling see me in Fat Sam's?
I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know what his nickname is, but there you go.
only alone I'd keep his Og Benny. Rest can go back. Next 2 games are very winnable. Also, first time in a while where we've actually looked a threat from set pieces. Recently, we've been appalling at them. Josh said before yesterday, I'd love to take 7 points from a possible 9 this week, which is very much achievable. Few more solid performances like yesterday, we'll be fine. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. So that would be another 4 points from the next 2. I'm taking that if I'm offered it now. Are you taking 4 points from next 2?
Oh gosh, based on the run we've been
Absolutely,
on.
yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I would do. I can't be bolshy enough to say, oh no, I want 6.
You can be, but you're not going to be.
Again, but anything at this minute is possible, and I'm hopeful that it goes our way, obviously.
Lewis says, evening guys, hope you're both feeling better. I think we're both, well, I'm certainly on the road to recovery. I've still got a niggling cough. How are you, mate? How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. It's nose has stopped running like a river, and I sound a little bit hoarse, which I don't know.
I think the love was shared around at the Matilda Shakes gig, weren't it? From what I understand.
If you call it love, yeah.
Man Mountain was a proper soldier the other night on football therapy. How much better are Sundays with 3 points? A big difference yesterday was how we competed for first and second balls, especially first half. Far better at squeezing the area around their 20-25 yards. It's a basic but a vital one. Prevents counter-attacks. We need to follow up on Tuesday. A win there would ignite the season. Shout out to Andy the Blade, the newest member of 5PB. Up all the Rambles, up the Blades, up the 5PB.
How many PBs are there? Crikey.
There were a 4PB.
More,
and obviously,
more PBs than the Olympics.
I know. And last night, Andy the Blade has to be an honorary member. So, but he will change like the wind. So as soon as we don't win, that'll be it. He'll be chuffing at that. How is he getting a game? Why is he getting a kick? What's it? So yeah, he'll be out. He'll be booted out at 5PB. They'll be back to 4PB quicker than you can spin. John says, evening gents. First comment. Oh, thank you, mate. Perhaps the team plays better when Gus is out. I think that'll be a typo. They don't rely on one player. A star team is better than a team of stars. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Well said, mate. Ray says that was a proper Chris's Blades performance. Not the best, but we're getting there. Go to Blackburn with a bit more confidence now. Let's keep it going. Evening, lads. Up the Blades, up all the Rambles. Like and subscribe. Josh says, was it at Middlesbrough that came from bottom to the playoffs in a recent season? It was Forest. I think we can do it, and maybe being without Gus for a bit will bring out the best in the rest. Up the Blades. Forest type run. Kev says, hi lads, hope you're okay. Just got to get out of the bottom 3, then see where we end up. Just wondering where we would be if we had a CW team from the summer build. Already brought class players in since he's been back. Go on, mate.
A Heckingbottom style run.
A Heckingbottom style run.
Closer to home, isn't it? A little bit. You know, the season when he took over from Slav.
That's the Sheffield United example, where we went from 17th to 5th. I think the Forest example is more pertinent to what we want to do, because they were bottom of the table and they got promoted through the playoffs that season. But yes, absolutely right. We have been known to go on similar runs in the past, and I am convinced that the game is 80% mentality. It's just, you've seen it in the players. We know that we've got quality players at the level. They just look a shadow of themselves at times, and it's coming back for some of them at the moment. So there's obviously players like Tyrese Campbell who are still not quite there yet with getting the confidence up, and that may or may not come, but we can only hope that it does. David says, at least 4 points from the next 2, and the league will take notice. Top 6 is a definite goal. I mean, let's just... I know it's definitely possible. Mathematically, we can still win the league. And we're only somewhat like 10 points away from the playoff spots. And when you put it in that context, it's 4-game swing. But there are also like 15 teams between us, like 18 teams between us. So you have to get through all that traffic. It's not quite as simple as there's 36 games to go. You're absolutely right, there's 36 games to go. And it's definitely long enough to go on a run that we need to get into those playoff places. But it's not as simple as we're only 10 points away, because everybody else is playing for points every week. So it's too simplistic to sort of just say, oh, we'll shoot up the table. You're more what you're saying is I'm on board with, which is certainly not just I'd say take it a game at a time, but even look at the next 2 to 3 games. If we win 3 out of the next 4, then we might be pushing mid-table. We might be 14th, 13th, 12th, and that's when you start to think, right, we're starting to gain some momentum here. We're starting to turn a corner. Go on, mate.
Well, no, I'm fully with you, because I think it's naive to speak like that right now. I think in this position, Sheffield United supporters in general, and again, I'm not telling people off. You can say what you want. This is a platform for everybody. But what I am saying is, we've won 2 matches out of 10. We'll know a lot more about where our season's going in another 10 matches and another 10. And that's not rocket science. After more games, you'll know how your season's panning out a little bit more. We should be seeing quite a big improvement in the points tally that we receive over the next 10 games compared to what we've had so far, because Wilder's only been in charge for 5 matches. So I think we give ourselves till I'm not going to say, oh, we're not allowed to review it until Christmas, but like you say, the next 10 matches, after 20 matches with 26 games to go, we'll have a much better idea about what a realistic aspiration is, without sounding, at the minute we do sound ridiculous, because if the league stopped tomorrow, we are relegated.
Yeah.
But we do know that we've seen a big improvement since Wilder was back through the door. We have. And we should have won 3, drawn 1, lost 1 maybe of the Wilder games that I've watched. But we've shown progress in performance. Yes, on Saturday it was decent. Could it have still been a draw? Yes, it could have been a draw. But I think that we're doing more of the right things. And like Wilder says, you've got to do a lot of things right to win a game. We're doing more of the things we need to do to win games than we were before, and we look solid. The relationships within the team are starting to build. Certainly across the back, we do look like quite a solid unit at the moment. And obviously Cooper keeping a clean sheet. We're hoping that he can get back to being his superb best. So it is encouraging, but it is like, until we get to like 20 matches, as certainly in our position, we shouldn't be sat there talking about playoffs and other bits and bobs. We've got to wait and see where we are. We'll know a lot at Christmas, because Christmas will determine where the board are with regards to chucking the money at it, because if they think we can get into the playoffs and there's still a realistic chance of promotion, they should be showing us that intent in the transfer market. If we are sat in 15th position, 12 points off the playoffs, my guess is the season will drift into mid-table mediocrity. But we've got to wait and see where we are, and we've got to see what Wilder can do, because we know he's done it before, and we've certainly seen an improvement since he came back.
Yeah, I agree. Brett says, let's not get too far ahead of steam. Take one step at a time. Absolutely. David says, evening 3MB. Are we happy today? Up all the rambles, up the blades. Like and subscribe, please. Tom says, evening, gentlemen. How good does it feel to do a video after a win? Hopefully we kick on now. Going to Blackburn on Tuesday, feeling a lot more confident than I was on Friday afternoon. Up the blades, up the ramble, up the positive Meldrew, I suppose that is, a positive mountain. James Tosland says, I think it was Forest, Josh. Evening, boys. We're more than capable of achieving the same thing with this squad of players. Up the blades, up the ramble, like and subscribe. We are capable of it. Neither of us saying, we back the squad, and I like the squad. I think the talent in the squad is strong. We've certainly not seen half of what they're capable of. The other thing that works in our favour is it's a marathon, not a sprint. And it's a case of we have started really slow, really, really slow, and given ourselves a hell of a lot of work to do. But Paul's right. There are 36 games left. So even though I don't see us mounting an immediate charge for the playoffs, I don't think by Christmas we will be 8th or 7th or whatever it might be. It doesn't mean that we can't be come February or March, and then we're really in the mix, aren't we? So, it's one of those, we need to take it steady, but it's all right to be excited by it too. So I'm going into Blackburn really confident now. Not confident that we'll turn them over or in an arrogant way, but just like we can put in the type of performance, we are capable of going to Blackburn and winning. And the team will hopefully believe that too now, because they've just got 3 points against Watford in a decent performance as well. Dave says, get well soon, Dave the nose. Yes, absolutely, pal. Luke says, hello, fellas. A big win, but I'm still concerned about performance levels. I think Tuesday is another must-win, or it makes us all seriously concerned again. Step in the right direction. Nevertheless, up the blades. Bryce says, we're live on the internet. No sound for Martin. That's not a good sign because nobody else has said that. Maybe try refreshing your feed, Martin, because I think that's worked for a few people before. Mark Meldrew says, big win yesterday, but I have to agree with Paul. Got away with it to a degree. They had 3 good chances, and on another day, a better side than them takes them onwards to Tuesday. Yeah, I think we've been on the wrong end of some poor luck as well, though, and I think sometimes these things come around. Andrew says it'll be so wilder to drop McCallum and play Burrows on Tuesday. McCallum was man of the match for me. Like and subscribe. I don't think he will, because it'd have been very easy to play Burrows from the start against Watford. He was clearly fit because he came on. But McCallum had a good game against Hull, and I think that was his start yesterday was a reward for his Hull performance. So I will be very surprised if McCallum doesn't start on Tuesday night, because he's earned it. He's earned the start. And neither me or Paul, and I know Paul sort of coughed it straight away, but neither of us were huge McCallum fans. So and we're both in favour of him starting, I think, aren't we? I think that's the way it's got to be when you earn the right to play.
It's not just good for Sam McCallum, mate, in my opinion. I think it's good for Burrows, because
I agree.
There's been a drop-off. There's been a drop-off in a lot of them. But I think he needs to feel like there's genuine competition for that spot in this squad and in this team. So, and I think if Sam McCallum comes in, does well, gives Burrows a bit of a rocket, really, to get him back to the quality we want to see. Certainly the quality in the final third. Burrows gives us an awful lot. That final ball, and he can score goals. He is a threat for us, Burrows. But again, we haven't seen it for quite a while now. So he's got to pull his socks up if he don't want to be a bench warmer. And I'm all for it. Competition in the team changes things, and Ogbenny the same. I think if Brooks can come on and do good things and put him under pressure and get used in certain matches, I want Ogbenny to go and push himself. And same, we need competition in this squad to make the players up their levels a little bit. And Campbell, more than anyone, I think he needs to be dropped. Personally, I think he needs the rocket more than anyone at the moment.
Didn't I just ask you if you dropped Campbell and you said no?
No.
All right. I thought I did, sorry.
Well, I think Ings needs games. I think Ings, if you're Danny Ings, you need match sharpness. And I think it wouldn't do us any harm to use Ings from the start and play him for an hour. And yeah.
I mean, the best example for me is the luxury position that we have had over the last 5 seasons, up until the last couple of seasons. But for the last 5 seasons prior to that, was right back or right wing back. George Baldock versus Jayden Bogle. Jayden Bogle was always recognised as a very good player at the level, but he couldn't get in front of George Baldock, because George Baldock was the majority of the time. I know they switched from time to time, but you need that level of that high. That's an ideal scenario where you have that high level of competition with 2 very good players for that position. But George maybe wouldn't have played as well if he didn't have Bogle behind him, chasing him and snapping at his heels. So I thought Ender Stevens always played up to his levels when we had decent competition. Reece Norrington Davis were chomping at his heels for a long time as well. So yeah, I think you need that behind you, and Burrows has certainly got that now with McCallum.
Yeah, sorry about I didn't mean to. You said about Campbell. The reason I wouldn't drop him is, or reason I might have said I didn't want to drop him is because of the system. Because I think we should be playing 2, and if we're playing 2, then
Campbell's in, isn't it? Yeah.
No, you don't. You don't drop him. But I think if we're playing 1, then you do. I think you should be playing. He should play Ings instead and make Campbell believe that he's not nailed on.
I agree. And I think Ings did well as a sole striker when he came on. I thought he played well. I saw somebody say they thought he was pretty poor in comments on 90 after 90, but I thought Ings played well. I thought he hustled, harried. I thought it was a very Billy Sharp-like performance. We've compared him to Billy a few times. He's certainly the closest thing we've got to it, but I think even as a smaller centre-forward, he was able to draw the fouls that were needed, very clever play, decent with the ball at his feet. I still think he's better in a 2. Danny Ings as a striker. I think most strikers are more comfortable in a 2. But I would still start, like you say, if it were a lone striker role, I'm plumping for Danny Ings at the moment to get a run in the team.
Just
and
more for his rhythm than anything else, mate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if he gets going, we haven't seen the best of him, have we? Or we haven't really given him a presentable chance yet.
And it's a rocket to tie that he needs. And we all want him to do well. And this can easily be taken out of context and think we're always going in hard on Tyrese Campbell. But we've seen what he can give us, and he's not producing this season at all. And if he wasn't called Tyrese Campbell, if it were Ryan O'Neill doing this, then he'd have been out of the team by now. So it's because of his past performances that he's getting a game rather than his current performances. So we need him to start either recapturing some of that form, which he's had plenty of chances to do and he's not really got there yet, or he needs to come out of the team. Like Burrows got bombed out of the team, and he'll struggle to get back in now if McCallum keeps playing at levels that he is. And that's a rocket to Burrows to say he needs to work double hard to get his shirt back. And that's the way we want it to be. As fans, we need that sort of competition.
Yep.
We need a big centre forward, 6'4" plus. Kiefer Moore. John says, evening boys, we're getting better by each game. I think we win the next 2 games. I hope you're right, John. That'd be incredible. Tuesday night will be a huge, huge game for consistency, says Danny, and performance-based to build on momentum, to optimistically start a momentum run of games. If we don't want to win the next 2, we are bottom half. If we don't win the next 2, we're bottom half all season. Okay. If we don't, I think if we've got 4 points, then I think we're on the right track. I don't base everything on the next 2 games, although I do think it's a really important run that we've got coming up now.
I think it's important for the players. I think the players need to believe they can go on a run, because when you're losing all the time, like you said, a lot of it's in your head, and the players need to think they can go places and win and snatch and grab sometimes, because that's what this league's about. We're not going to blow teams away playing like we are at the minute, but we are going to be pragmatic. We're hopefully going to keep more clean sheets, which underpin the season, really. The reason we were anywhere near Burnley and Leeds was because we had a top goalkeeper and an organised defence that, suffered when Suter dropped out of it, obviously. But we were the first, like at home, we didn't concede, did we, for about 7 or 8 games? Season, amazing season, really.
Incredible.
It's underpinned by shape and dogged determination not to keep the ball out of the net. And it feels that we've got the tools for that. Do you know what I mean? We've got the players for that now. And it looks like they're getting better together all the time. I thought they were decent, all 3. I think the fact Ben Mee wasn't starting at the start of the season, it's just an head scratch. Who decides that? But anyway, he's come in and he looks the part, and I really like it. I like the way it looks. They've got a good balance at the back there now.
What's your thoughts on McGuinness?
I think he is one that is going to get better. I think physically, he's a handful in the air.
Yeah.
I was looking at him from set plays. Obviously, he had a header on target, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I said to
did well with that.
Yeah, I'm saying to Lee as well. I was like, do you remember when we went through that little stage of overhitting to Harry Suter on the back post, and then we'd sort of try and nod it back? I said, should we be doing that with McGuinness? I said, last time we scored a goal, a headed goal for something from a corner, was a long time ago. And it was a tactic that teams struggle to deal with, because in a 50-50 scenario, you back McGuinness to be able to get his head on something against most players, centre-halves in this division. And
then if you win the second ball, chances are you've scored, isn't it?
Second ball, keeping the ball alive, putting it back into the danger area, getting people moving off that. So it's almost, it's a ploy, isn't it, to overhit the back post. Your big man gets on the end of it, and then you've got 2 or 3 guys running into the box, one trying to occupy the keeper, etc. So it's stuff that we need to. It's those little margins that make the difference all the time. And we're talking about it on the stream the other night on the football channel, where we were talking about England and talking about who would you have on your bench for England, and we were remarking that we're talking about Maguire as a potential centre back, and lo and behold, what's he done today? He's got a nodded the winner
exactly right
at Anfield. And we were saying, well, if you're chasing the game and you see a bench and you see 3 guys get off it. You see Trent Alexander-Arnold, you see Dan Burn, and you see Harry Maguire. So you can pretty much guess what the
tactic is. Exactly right.
But the truth is, you try and stop it. You try and stop that quality delivery, and those 2 guys ploughing in to head the ball. It's not always champagne dripping off the ceiling, Jim. It's
no, that's right.
Sometimes you got to smash the door.
It's industrial sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what football is sometimes. And a player like McGuinness, I want to see us utilise his physicality, because he's a big lump and he's going to be hard to stop in a 1v1 situation in the air. So get it used, use it, and think about how we're going to use it more effectively.
Love that, mate. The Blunt Yorkshireman says, like the team performance yesterday, organised, players knew their roles. Shout out to Samari. Just as hot and cold as Peck, in my opinion, but came into it once he got settled. Need pace and power in January. Romeo Dunn says, good to see a win yesterday. If we don't go up this year, we can go again next year. All that matters to me is that we get out of the bottom 3, but let's hope this is a kick-start to the season. Yeah, I'm not even thinking about next season yet, Romeo. It's very much dependent on how we do this year. Chris the Blade, I want your thoughts on this actually very quickly. I'm pleased it's come up. Says, Birmingham fans want us to have Robbo back. Any offers? Thoughts on Jack Robinson scoring an own goal yesterday, getting sent off for the 2nd time in 4 games? Just your thoughts. People know mine.
I use a phrase quite often that form is temporary and class is permanent, and I think it works both ways.
Correct.
I think we should remind the Birmingham fans what we were saying when he signed for you, and you were telling us he was the best thing since sliced.
Well, he got man at match in his first game, didn't he? I think.
Well, there you go. Form is temporary.
Correct.
Class is permanent.
Love that. Paul says, so good to hear from Andy the Blade. I hope he enjoys his stay in the Lone Star State. I felt the time had come for the tide to turn. So glad the Energizer Bunny buried it. Yeah, absolutely right. No chance, Chris says, Bright to that. Mid-table's your best bet, says Paul. Thank you for that. Let's have a look.
Cheers, Paul.
Hello. Jamie Dumpling says, I have to apologise yesterday. I commented on 90 after 90 and said how O'Hare was the only player under Wilder to score so far. I was wrong. Campbell did 2 against Southampton. I'm a disgrace. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. James Stribley says, for Louis Barry's own good and development, he needs another spell in League 1 or League 2.
Well said on gym. He needs to do an element and die and get himself in the gym.
Can we just highlight this comment, please? Well said, Jimmy, on loans. I've said it for years. Thank you, James. Appreciate that. Phil says, hello, Jimmy and Paul. I think I could put Tyrese Campbell on the bench on. I would put I would put Tyrese Campbell on the bench on Tuesday and start Tom Cannon up front with Danny Ings. Tyrese could come on later and Riedwald would start. Yeah, Riedwald would start for both of us, I think, if he's fit enough to do so. We should go for Tolaj at Argyle. He's just signed for him though, Gabe Ante, from Port Vale, I think. Yeah, he's not been there very long. Muscat to Rangers is off. Warnock loved him. Serves him right, I'd say. We signed McAtee to develop him. Yeah, but I would also say that McAtee offered us something that no one else in the squad offered us at that time. And I'm not, the amount of games he played justified his loan. It wasn't like we were trying to fudge him in. And that's one example as well. I look to the absolute best loans that we've had have been game changers. Dean Henderson, Morgan Gibbs-White, Harry Suter last season. These players who come in and make an immediate impact. Even Tommy Doyle, who wasn't a regular starter, I didn't feel like we were weaker when Tommy Doyle was coming on as an alternative option. I don't think Samari has that same presence or impact on the game at the moment. And I'm not saying he will have or he won't have, but I think it's a concern when, yes, we were developing Tommy Doyle and James McAtee for Man City, but that pedigree, we knew the standard was very high to begin with. Samari's more of a punt, I would say, on will he get to the levels that we expect, and that's just a personal opinion, really.
Well, I think a manager who is coming in and has basically adopted somebody else's loan signings, like you said, you want loans that are unattainable in the transfer market.
That's
because
right.
You want them to be levels above, or certainly have the pedigree of
players that you can't buy.
Yeah, and usually, like I said to you, you like him in those front positions, don't you? The top of the pitch, usually.
Yeah, game changers, yeah.
Because you build your team around a basis at the back, and Suter's and obviously an outlier on that one. But I think when you're a manager, when you bring players to the club, you have an obligation to those, or you feel obliged to those players to give them good opportunity to play. You've brought them there. You've sold them the club. You've told the club that they're coming from, that they're here for games. They're your choice. And when they're not your choice, you've no obligation, have you? Really? I mean, Wilder's got no no inkling towards putting Binden in to play him into form or anything like that, because he's not his guy. He's the guy before that's made a bit of a mess at his club with bringing these types of players in. So he's seemingly willing to give Barry more of a shot than Binden, but honestly, we can bemoan the loan signings all day, Jim. The fact is, we're not going to be able to change any of that until Jan, so we might as well park it and just see if they become part of our squad. Again, I don't see many of them being starters, especially the ones I just mentioned, but I do feel like you've got to still try and use them. If they're going to be there and they're better than the alternative, you have got to try and use them. But like you said, it was a poor use of those loan signings from the current perspective, because again, we don't think that they're certainly not levels above what we've got, and we don't see them being used too much. But time will tell. They've all been poor so far, Jim, this season, and players need matches. Like you're saying about Samari, you don't see this, you don't see that. He hasn't really had a chance to show us anything.
True.
Really.
That's true. No, that's true.
He's no match fitness, no rhythm, no run of games.
I'm certainly not writing him off, mate. I'm certainly not. But I don't think Wilder fancies him.
Well, he's done okay. So I think in certain,
as has Matos, who didn't get a sniff yesterday either.
Yeah, but he's done. But Samari, when he went to Birmingham, even under Sayers, who brought him to the club, we thought, it's decent.
Do we want okay though? Do we want okay? Is that acceptable?
He's a young lad.
I know, but he's an Arblaster replacement.
Yeah, but
he's a Vinny Souza replacement.
We watched. Yeah, I know, mate. But we saw the clips. He looked quite an exciting player. He's been playing.
Don't give me clips. Don't give me clips. You know what I'm like with him.
I'm giving you what we had to work with. And when we saw him, we were like, he looks like a good player. And the truth is, he's been playing in the Premier Division in Portugal. He's been holding down a place. He was showing really good touches and things on the videos. And I know the videos are misleading, but that's all we've got to go on. And that's what we used. The truth is, mate, he hasn't had a chance, and he didn't do badly on Saturday, and he might not be the answer. But he obviously feels like he's worth a shot. And I think in the situation we find ourselves with the injuries to Blaster and Davies, he's going to get used. So we might as well give him an opportunity, give him 4 or 5 games, see how he gets on before we start telling everyone that he's not good enough.
I agree. He's our player, and I want him to do well. But I feel the same about Louis Barry. Louis Barry's our player. I want him to do well, but he also started against Watford, and I didn't think he were great. And he got taken off. Samari got taken off. Yeah. It could be the same sort of thing, really.
Okay, I'll tell you this then, Jim. I thought Samari was a lot better than Barry, and has been a lot better when he's been on the pitch for us.
I agree with that.
Since he joined.
I agree with that.
When Louis Barry joined, we were all excited, including yourself, because of the pedigree of the player, what we'd seen from him in League One. So again. He hasn't got any rhythm, but I don't think he's got the tools. I think Samari has the tools to be able to come and play for us and contribute to this season. Do I think Louis Barry's got the tools? I think if he has, he's getting drowned out in the physicality of the league. I don't think he's got the yard of pace required to beat a man. I don't think he's got the options in his game to go both ways effectively and give us what we're after in a wide player. At the end of the day, in that position, it's crosses, assists, goals. Do I think Louis Barry's going to bring enough to the table to take a spot? No, I don't. Not from what I've seen. I think he's lightweight, and I think he needs to get himself in the gym and just build himself up for. He's still growing, but he's not physically at this level, and that's why I think he will be ineffective, and I think Samari could be a contributor to this team.
So if Gyro earns himself a contract to the end of the season, which I think we probably think he will do. I think it's more a sort of get us to January, then we'll sort everything out type of deal. And I think looking at how Wilder's talked about him already, the fact that he's used him and brought him in into the game on this first week of training, I think he rates him. That's just an observation or an opinion. So Gyro, I think, earns a contract till at least the end of the season. I think Arblaster will be back come January. I think Sidney Peck is not going anywhere in terms of his squad selection. If Tom Davies can get anywhere near fit, Samari is then, and Matos, who's still in the squad, Samari is then 5th or 6th choice. Matos is our player. Do you terminate Samari's loan?
See where we are. See where we are. Because we can only suck it in siege, and we don't know. Samari, I think there's points in Samari's game that he brings to the table. I think we'll see where we are with him in 15 games. It's like the league, mate. It's talking about promotion. You got to give him a chance, and Wilder's given him a chance. In fairness, and there's a lot of people who thought he did all right. I thought he did all right. In times, I think we've got to give people an opportunity. I know it's easy to say, "Oh, we'll be 6th choice or whatever," but he's a. I don't know if Matos is injured. He's ahead of Matos at this point, isn't he?
Yeah.
So we've got to let him have a go. I think Reader and Peck will be the first choice moving forward, but I think Samari will play his part. And yeah, and I'm up for seeing if he can get any better, because he's a young player in a new division and in a foreign country to him. And I don't think he's let himself down since he started. I really don't think he has.
Okay, I'm going to fire through some of the rest of these comments. I apologise. I didn't realise how long we've been going. So Josh says, I was one of the people that thought Samari was man of the match. I think he added extra steel in the midfield, and in the second half was the main lad going with O'Hare in the press, meaning we won the ball and attacked. There are a lot around us that were surprised Samari and not Peck was the one to come off. Also in the celebration in front where we sit, Samari's passion looked awesome. Don't mind that at all. I think, if I'm honest, it looked like he was feeling his hamstring for 2 or 3 minutes before he came off. So I think it was hopefully a precaution that he was hooked. It didn't actually look like it looked like Burrows was a late decision. Maybe it's a similar thing with McCallum. Looked like it were going to be a double sub before it ended up being a triple sub. I don't know if Samari had anything to do with that. Campbell is a 60-minute max man, says Inti Yanan. Not a problem, but that's him. If you want to up top now, you just take Barry out, says Luke. Yeah, possibly. How can professional athletes be cream crackered after 60 minutes? Most other teams players go the course. Why not ours? Yeah, absolutely right. He's here, he's there, he's every flipping where. Cal O'Hare, says Paul. Lee says, Imran Loser is one of the midfield targets myself and Paul talked about on View from the Mountain during the transfer window. Really good playmaking midfielder. Yes, he was. I did a grid for that you'd sent me, I think. Would love to have a look at Czech Batadze also. I think he'll be overpriced, to be honest. And he's out injured at the moment as well.
Can I say, sorry, McCallum, I thought it was like one of them. It was a really lovely moment for him because he comes off on the far side of the pitch and walks all the way around the pitch and received a standing ovation.
Yeah, he did.
All cut
from us as well.
Top and all down the thing. And I was really like, oh, I'm proud to be a Blaze right now. I loved it. I really liked it. It's nice to see a guy who's been getting, some penalty pelters off me and other people to come in and put in a really good performance and get the ovation that he got. I thought it was probably the best part of the game.
We were driving out at a car park. My dad's driving, and one of the young lads is like lifting one at railings to just sorting car park out, basically to get one of the cars out. And my dad's like, it looks like Sam McCallum him. And it was. I says, wind your window down. He wound his window down. He turned. He went. Brilliant performance, Sam. Man at match. We didn't even know he got man at match at that point. He were like, oh, cheers, lads. Really appreciate it. Just a lovely, beaming smile. He were buzzing with obviously how the game had gone. It were great to see, to be honest. Really, really good. Dave Ahmed says our best away performance of the season was at Blackburn last season. Finn says, good win that much. What are you shaking your head at, you?
You, like, as if you got Sam McCallum moving the barrier out the way for you.
Not for us. Not for us. It was for him. I think he parked.
Quick,
I think he parked and somebody had put a barrier in front of his car. So it looked like you were one of young lads, one of young work lads shifting it about.
Yeah.
So my dad were about to beep him to get at it away, and no, he weren't. I'm kidding.
Finn says for a photo. Is that what?
He wouldn't have been first yesterday to stop me father. Good win that, much needed for the Blades. Can see it now for the Blades ruining out unbeaten run. Hamer and O'Hare probably play up Sky Blues. I think we'll give you a tough game, Finn. I think we'll give you a decent game, but whether we've got enough to beat the league leaders who have started on fire, and I think you're playing really well, but we'll cross that. We'll worry about that when we come to your game. Alex says, excited to see what CW will do in January. So close to that 10K too. Like and subscribe. Love the Ramble. A great community full of different opinions and respect. Wish I had joined sooner. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate that. Daz has just become a Rambler again. I know there's been some... Daz, who lives abroad, one of our Platinum Ramblers, he's just had to cross them over. Thank you for your continued support, pal. Who else has not had a comment read? John says, Barry looked very lightweight yesterday, but I thought all the corners he took before he got hooked were all so much better than our usual corner kicks. Actually beat the first man, a rare thing recently. Yeah, I think Gus's corners have been very disappointing this season. I also thought McCallum took some... Did he take some corners at Hull? I thought his corners looked really good, sort of landed in the middle of the 6-yard box. Yeah, really good. Statman Jack's laughing at your Stay Puff Marshmallow Man comment, Paul. I think that when we were talking about Tyrese. McCallum is obviously
8 weeks out or whatever.
I know. Oh, yes, it might have been. Yes, it was. It was Gus's 8 weeks. Yeah. McCallum is obviously a wing back rather than a full back, says John. Yeah, but to be honest, it's a fluid formation we're playing at the minute, and we were all looking out for it yesterday. The starters are 4. And then when McCallum gets forward, more so than Tanganga, they shift across into a 3 and sort of cover their all bases. But he is given license to get forward. But I think he did okay going back as well yesterday. I have to give him his props. Jimmy Civil says, the thing with Suter, and for that matter, Arblaster, is it's unknown how quickly they'll be able to get back to top form. Very fair. These things take time. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Bryce says, Paul, have any kids sang your theme tune to you yet? Just his own, I think.
Just my lad. My daughter.
everybody that, or half the people that come up and recognise him, love the song.
Rob Holding, yeah, he's the
Rob Holding. Rob Holding's the most famous.
He's the marquee one, yeah.
Can't believe that. I forgot that happened. View from Narren. McCallum has had a couple of good games. I never really trusted him, but he's there on merit. Andy, you're not the first one to doubt him, to be honest. Brett says it's all coming good, lads. Played like prime Barca, or could that be the Jaeger bombs? Both Tams had chances, but it's about who takes them. The fine margins win games. Up all the positive ones. Like and subscribe. Join the platform.
The laughs I've had at him over the last few days with them photos. He's like that. It's like the best, mate. It's honestly like the best day of his life. I absolutely love him.
So Brett was in as we discussed yesterday on Night After Night. It was the first time Jaeger bombs have ever been ordered in the director's box.
Years ago, I used to watch this. I know I don't get any commission for this, but there was a video on YouTube, My New Haircut, and that's the guy. I don't know if you've seen it, but the guy.
No.
Jaeger bombs, and I was like, it just reminded me of that. I went back and watched it as well. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Nige says it's a fight for survival now and not a fight for promotion, and hopefully fans will start seeing the hard workers and not the flair players in the squad now. Kev says until the forwards step up with goals, it'll be a lot of 1-0 wins. Lewis says, I think the truth with Samari is somewhere in between the contrasting views on him. He can be very effective in spells, but he goes missing for extended spells. He's young, not one for the now, in my opinion. I think that's fair. Dino says, good player Samari. They're down on him, Jimmy lad. Give him a break. Yeah, I don't mean to sort of make it a thing, because it's not. And I want to give him time. I prefer the look of Gyro and Peck than I did to Samari and Peck. It's just my honest opinion.
It was not unsimilar circumstances that City Peck got his break in this team. when we thought he was nowhere near, and then he came to the fore as a key player for us, didn't he? Sidney Peck last season, he was in there through injury.
But I think he made an immediate impact, didn't he?
Yeah, but I don't think Samari's hasn't like I say.
No, that's fair. That's fair. As I say, I think you've defended him so well that it seems like I'm more down on him than I am, because I don't mean to be, but I've just got preferred players in front of him. That's all. So I hope he comes good. Of course I do. We were both down on Sam McCallum. That's probably the best example I can go to. 3 games ago, not many people, I never speak for everybody, but not many people would have had Sam McCallum in the starting 11. And he comes in for Hull, plays well, and then on merit, should probably start against Watford, and did, which was great to see. Got man at match. So, yeah, absolutely. And now, for me, he has to start over Harrison Burrows, who a lot of us have a real soft spot for anyway, because we think he's a real prospect player for the future for Sheffield United. But I'm starting Sam McCallum, personally, on Tuesday over Harrison Burrows, because he's there on merit.
Picking him on form, yeah.
Of course we are. Helen says, get the impression you don't like Samari, Jimmy, almost as much as you didn't like Robinson. Give him a chance. He's barely played. This is what I mean. I don't mean it to come across that way. So
you're right, Helen. You are right.
You're not right. I'm not down on him as maybe it appears. Josh has just become a Rambler. Thank you, Josh. Very much appreciate that, pal. Lampard to Forest, says Nige. I think it'll be Sean Dyche to Forest, to be honest. Chef Paul says, agree with Luke's Blade. McAtee received the same criticism when he got repeatedly knocked off the ball. He spent some time in the gym, and the rest is history. Barry will come good. I hope you're right. Again, it's the same sort of thing. People aren't saying I'm as harsh with Barry, because I think more people agree. But it's I hope that you're right, as does Paul, I'm sure. We want these players to come good. It's just from what we've seen so far, Louis Barry has not shown. He certainly didn't take his chance yesterday, in my opinion. Not sure Nige gets in the PBs at this rate. Okay, right. I think we'll probably call it there, mate. Anything else you want to cover before I let you go? Because we've done an hour and a half nearly.
No, mate. No, just like I say, it's not. I know we've had a bit of a tete-a-tete on certain bits and bobs, but we should just be happy that the team looks like it's a team that now can go and get some results in this division. And yeah, I just hold us horses a little bit on predictions. Just like we said, let's see how the next 4 or 5 games go. Let's get to a few more milestones down the road.
It's on to Blackburn, isn't it?
Yeah, but that'll be more for me. That'll be more about the type of team that we're going to have moving forward. We'll know more in 10 games time. I don't think we hang the season on 2 matches. I think that when you get some momentum, I think it's important for the players to carry that on. And so if we get and runs are the thing that get you up this division, 2, 3, 4 wins out of 5 is 4 or 5 wins is brilliant. And I think for the players, it's important the next 2 games. Do I think it defines the season? No. I think that we'll know more after another 10, and then we'll know more after another 5 or 6 after that. But for me, there's hope. All of a sudden, there is hope for our club in terms of we look like a side that can go and get results in this division. And that's big props to Chris Wilder.
Love that. Absolutely love that. Thank you to everybody that's contributed tonight, and of course, Mr. Mountain, who contributes significantly to this channel these days. It's very much appreciated. Thoughts with Dave the Nose. Hope you start to feel better soon, my mate, and we'll see you very soon. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards.
Up the blades!